Hi, welcome back to Hostbox CSC channel and back to Computer Architecture and Organization series. Today we are going to see the topic called interrupts in computer organization and architecture. So one of the major and very important area where if you prepare for GATE or any competitive exams, definitely you have to know. The previous session I explained about the accessing IO organization where we discussed about the disk controller and the idea about accessing IO devices, some mechanisms, program controlled IO and so on. At last I told introduction about these points and say some ideas about interrupts and the DMA. And the upcoming session definitely explain about the DMA and so on. Let's go for interrupts in this CO. Today the session definitely helpful to understand what is meant by interrupt and why we need interrupts and some example, real-time example, and what is the meaning of interrupt latency and what are the difference between subroutine and interrupts ISR instruction subroutine, that is then interrupt hardware and enabling and disabling. How do you enable and disabling the interrupts, and followed by some subtopics how to handle multiple devices. So whenever handling multiple devices, lot of ways will be there. One way is polling scheme, remaining the polling scheme I will say remaining daily up to a daily chain, remaining I will continue the next session. So now go for the interrupts. Generally we can say what are interrupts. Interrupts means you can say these are the mechanism by which model like IO or memory may interrupt the normal process of CPU. So remember, you can say which model like IO or something or memory may interrupt the normal process of CPU. Interrupt means what? Somewhat stopping the process. Remember. Or you can say in program controlled IO, when the processor continuously monitors the status of the device, it does not perform any useful task. An alternate approach would be for the IO devices to alert the processor when it becomes ready. So a hardware signal called an interrupt, you can say simple definition, a hardware signal called an interrupt will alert the processor when an IO device becomes ready. And also the interrupt signal is sent on the interrupt request line. And also why we need interrupts, because it always improve the performance of the CPU. If you want to improve the performance of the CPU, not only cache, we need support of interrupts also. Then here the processor can perform other useful tasks while it is waiting for the device to be ready. Here let's go for the real-time example. Here it's work. Let's assume that where a scenario we have a diagram where you have compute routine and the print routine. So this let's assume the CPU have process called whenever CPU instruct the printer. So let's assume that we are going to print some documents. What happen whenever you insert the printer, you can connect and switch on the printer. So CPU instruct the printer to print one by one. So let's assume the situation if interrupts not there, what happen? Whenever interrupts not happen, the CPU have to instruct the printer and have to waste some time and wait for some time. So CPU respond for only one instruction at a time. So for example, print the statement like that. User currently running the other program also, whatever happen, it won't respond properly. So to overcome this situation, you can go for interrupts. So whenever interrupts, everything will come proper. And moreover, we can avoid the waste of a lot of time waiting for these external devices to match up with the speed. So we can increase the performance and improve the performance of the CPU only. Let's assume that the instruction 1 and 2 up to 3 we are giving some instruction 1 to 3 we are going to print some routine. So whenever we use the routine interrupt occurs means what happens, the stage of I, it go and print the statement and the CPU monitor the next instruction and the simultaneously the user go for other work. For example, concurrently can do some other work and CPU respond properly. So one way printing printing 5, for example you are giving 10 pages printed, print and completed. Again user gives complete some task and give again printing. It try to without waste the time, it try to print as soon as possible. So like that with the interrupts only very good, because here it concurrently support all kind of works here. So whenever go for the upcoming sessions, you can clearly understand. So remember the printer will print the document like that. Here some points given here as based on, as I told here processor is executing the instruction located at address I when an interrupt occurs. And also routine executed in response to an interrupt request is called the interrupt service routine. That is called service, in short you can write ISR capital letter. Interrupt service routine is what? The routine executed in response to an interrupt request is called the interrupt service routine. You may expect sometime 2 marks. When an interrupt occurs, control must be transferred to the interrupt service routine. But before transferring control, the current contents of the PC, that is I+1 program counter, must be saved in a known location. Remember, this will enable the return from interrupt instruction to resume execution at I+1. Return address or the contents of the PC are usually stored on the processor stack. Remember, so here the PC will also update I+1 also. Don't get confusion here. Just understand the real-time example of printing the documents. Easily understand. Here, the processor first complete the execution of the instruction I. So you know, CPU always instruct the CPU always instruct the instruct it, and based on instruction 1, 2, 3 and 1 sequentially. Then the processor loads the PC with the address to the first in the instruction of ISR, and after execution of ISR, the processor has to come back to the instruction I+1. Therefore, when an interrupt occurs, what happens? The current of PC is put in the temporary location. So whenever go for interrupt occurs, what happens? The current of the PC in temporary location only, storage location only. A return at the end of the ISR reloads the PC from the temporary storage location. This causes the execution to resume at instruction I+1. So remember, interrupts are divided into so many categories: software interrupt, hardware interrupt, and so on. We are going to see the general interrupt, where it's relevant to the computer architecture and organization. So here, when process is handling interrupts, what happens? It must inform device that its request has been recognized. This may accomplish by INTA signal. And the task of saving and restoring the information can be done automatically by the processor. The processor saves only the contents of PC and status register, and saving registers also increase the interrupt latency. So let's go for another example. We are going to work with the computer. What do you know in the PC or laptop or power backup, or let us with the PC. Work with PC, suddenly power gone. You are taking printer, suddenly power gone. What happened? Suppose instead of 10 pages, 5 pages printed. So again, once power gone and some power drop up happened, after switch on, after getting the power, what happened? Same, the CPU instruct to continue the same. Already 5 pages continue means resume the work temporarily and continue, or any hardware errors occurs rarely. Software hardware occurs after repairing. What happened? You start from the page number 6. Mostly it won't come from the first like that. So out of 10 pages, 5 pages printed. So where it stopped here now currently. So 6 page onwards again start the printing the document like that. Let's interrupt latency. What is interrupt latency? It is a delay between the time an interrupt request is received and start of the execution of the ISR. It's a delay between the time an interrupt request is received and start of the execution of the ISR. Generally, the long interrupt latency are not acceptable. So we don't go deeply here. Let's cover difference between subroutine and ISR. So interrupt. Let's go for ISR definition given here. Sorry for inconvenience. That is interrupt service routine, ISR, capital T. Interrupt service routine, ISR. So what is the difference between the subroutine and ISR? You know what is subroutine, and the previous session definitely I already explained the 2-3 classes. Just check in the playlist. A subroutine always perform a task that is required by the calling program, but interrupt service routine may not have anything in common with the program it interrupts. So subroutine it's a similar to function, it is calling the program whenever one, but here not like that. It's opposite of subroutine. Then interrupt service routine and the program that it interrupts may belong to different users. As a result, before branching to the interrupt service routine, not only the PC but other information such as condition code flags and parser registers used by both the interrupted program and the interrupt service routine must be stored. This will be enable the interrupted program to resume execution upon return from the interrupt service routine. So there will be a lot of difference between the subroutine and the interrupt service routine. So interrupt service routine ISR is the part of the CPU instructions, just part of the instruction, and do the works. And first other subtopics relevant to this one is interrupt hardware. You know, today most computers have several IO devices that can request an interrupt, and single interrupt request IR line may be used to serve on devices. And here see the diagram here. All the devices are connected to the IR, that is interrupt request line via switches to ground. See, this is the diagram, general diagram for understanding the interrupt hardware. So I already told you, not only software, you need support of some hardware knowledge to improve the knowledge in CO area, computer architecture and organization area. There will be a processor, we have a INTR signal followed by some gate signal and INTR bar, and here interrupt 1, interrupt 2, and interrupt and so on is there, where followed by voltage area and resistor will be there. So let's see here some diagrams explanation. Here, to request an interrupt, a device closes its associated switch here, and thus if all IR signals are inactive, the voltage on the IR line will be equal to VR. Then when a device requests an interrupt, the voltage on the line drops to 0 here. Remember, when a device requests an interrupt, so I told again repeating, we need interrupt because to improve the performance of the CPU or efficiency of the CPU, we must need interrupts. So this is a diagram. Based on diagram, you can write it. Again repeating, diagram carries minimum 1 or 2 marks if you prepare for exams, BTech or university exam, anything, BTech, university or any exam. Then this always causes the INTR received by the processor to go to 1, and also the value of INTR is the logical or of the request from individual devices. For example, you can say INTR is equal to INTR plus 1, INTR 2, and so on. Then a special gates known as open collector or open drive are used to drive the INTR line. Just in the diagram now, the out of the open collector control is equal to switch to a ground that is open when gates input is in 0 state and closed when the gates input is in 1 state. And also resistor R is called a pull-up resistor. See, just know the diagram. This is the pull-up resistor. Here it's supported the hardware of the interrupt area or interrupt hardware supported by pull-up resistor, that is called R, because it pulls the line voltage up to the high voltage state when the switches are open. These are the back-end process when you try to print the document or something do in the computers. And next one is enabling and disabling interrupts. All computers fundamentally should be able to enable and disable interrupts as desired. Remember, the problem of infinite loops occurs due to successive interrupts of active INTR signals. There are 3 mechanisms to solve problem of infinite loop. Remember, so these are things how you are work with the computer, how long you are working, and what kind of task you are going to do continuously or simultaneously, how long, like that. Whereas with the normal computer, supercomputer, PC, laptop, whatever there. Okay, the 3 mechanisms we need. First one is the process should ignore the interrupts until execution of first instruction of the ISR, first solution. Next mechanism, process should automatically disable interrupts before starting the execution of the ISR. Next one, processor has a special INTR line for which the interrupt handling circuit. And also here interrupt circuit responds only the leading edge of signal, such line is called the edge triggered. And also sequence of equals involved in handling an interrupt request is following. Let's see. Here there are 3 mechanisms. These 3 mechanisms, upcoming sessions we will understand while going. So enable means what? It keep ready and execute the task. Disable means at presently not. For example, giving 3 instructions. First instruction enabled. That first and 2 means first 2 are temporarily enabled. It will perform the task. Third one is not possible. Here the device raises an interrupt request. First step is step number 1, interrupt request. Step number 2, the processor interrupts the program currently being executed. What kind of program? Printing the document or what you are expecting, like that. And also third one, interrupts are disabled by changing the control bits in the process status register. So where you want to interrupt change, it means you can change the signal in processor status register only, that is PS. And fourth step, the device is informed that is request has been recognized. In response, the device deactivates the interrupt request signal. And fifth step, the action requested by the interrupt is performed by the interrupt service routine. Remember, and interrupts are enabled and execution of the interrupt program is resumed. So remember the printer and task I'm given, computer and printers, you can understand better way. And next one, handling multiple days. It's a challenging task. Based on this area only, many of the universities may ask problem statement. So here we have to find the solutions. While handling multiple devices, the issue considered are what? Let's assume that in the computer, let's say in the hardware, what happens in one computer, you can say only one printer. You can connect multiple printers also, or else multiple hardware. At a time you can connect one printer, and at a time you can insert the pen drive, and from the pen drive you can open the document and take printouts. Not only system folders, so many things. That's called IO devices, 1, 2, 3, like that. You can use the printer and connect with pen drive, or printer with its DV, CD, like that. You can use multiple devices. How the routines and interrupt will happen? What kind of a interrupt will give solution? So the question arises here: how can the processor recognize the device requesting an interrupt? Next question: how can the processor obtain the starting address of the appropriate ISR? And should device be allowed to interrupt the processor while another interrupt is being serviced. Another question: how should two or more simultaneous interrupt requests must be handled? So let's say the real example. If you go the browsing center, what say for understanding purpose, don't write for exams. The browsing center, what happened? You have only one printer is shared by 5 members. So already 2 members given the printout. Say one person suddenly coming third person and asking, sir, it's emergency, give printer. So what happened means one more option is there. So you have to either wait for the 2 persons printout, first person 10 pages, second person 2 pages, or else they can manually stop it. So interrupt will support it. So manually stop and go for the periodical third person who want emergency. So currently they execute the process and come back the currently resume the process and give the periodical third person printout after come back the same operation. So now to get the solution for handling multiple devices, lot of things is there. Let's I go to conclude the first solution. Remaining I'll continue the second session, that is called polling. So polling scheme, one of the way to handle the multiple IO devices. Here, if the processor uses a polling mechanism, what happens? To poll the status registers of IO devices to determine which device is requesting an interrupt. So whenever polling scheme, it definitely helpful to choose the interrupt. Which interrupt one IO devices one. So actually 3 devices are requesting means which one is selected, which we can select. And in this case, priority is determined by the order in which the devices are polled. And also the first device with status bit is set to 1 is the device whose interrupt request is accepted. So whenever the status bit come to 0, 1 means the device. For example, the computer were connecting 3 devices, 1, 2, 3 hardware devices and doing operations. Which device you are based on your request. Maybe device 1 will be activated or device 2 activated. And after device 2 query solved, query from the device 2 called, it go back to the device 1. Let's go for a concept of daisy chain scheme. If you want to deep and have idea about polling scheme, you can apply the daisy chain scheme. There will be a diagram. Let's assume that this is a part of the type 2 arbitration scheme. Let's assume that you have a diagram here. Bus arbiter followed by device 1, IO device 1, IO device 2 and IO device and so on. Where you have 3 request lines called BGT, that is bus grant and also bus request and send acknowledge. So let's assume that daisy chain bus repetition. Let's assume that we have only one computer here. Let's understanding purpose I am saying, don't write for exam. So we have printer 1. So I have just assumed that you have one printer here and you have a printer 1 and scanner 2 and printer 2 like that. Printer 1, printer 2 and scanner like that. So now we are the user sitting in the computer. We have to do some work. We are going to assign. We are giving the work means, for example, I am giving the printer 1 some printer, that's a normal printer. I am giving 10 pages. Then another one another is a color printer. So let's assume that be clear. I want to take printer of 2 color print sheets, 2 color printers and 10 black and normal printers. So first I am assigning. Let's assume this is a device 3 color printer. This is a device 1 printer, normal printer, and this is a scanner like that. So first I am giving 2 pages of color print. So which device is activated now? Based on the bus request, device the color printer will request or device, it will get the get the permission, grant signal and send the acknowledgement. After get the acknowledgement from this bus arbiter, with the help of processor, it go and print the color pages 2. Then I am printing the device 1. With the help of device 1 I am printing the normal printer. Means what? After complete this stage requesting, whenever requesting, remaining time these should be device 1 and 2 should be waited. Okay, so once device M completed, whenever device M doing something, this another devices get the message of internally in the computer called busy like that. So once this device 3, that color printer works completed, it come to give priority to device 1 and completed and scanner. When you want scan, you can do give a priority to others works on like that. So this is the way how daisy chain bus arbitration or daisy chained bus helpful to understand the polling concept. Some points are given here based on the diagram. Diagrams are very important. So sometimes they ask write a notes about interrupt polling scheme, means you can write these points with the diagram. Here devices are connected to form a daisy chain continuous process where devices share the interrupt request line and interrupt acknowledge line is connected to form a daisy chain. When devices raise an interrupt request, the interrupt request line is activated. Remember, when permission given means, then The process in response activities interrupt acknowledged and received by device 1. If device 1 does not need service, it passes the signal to device 2, and device that is electrically close to the processor has the highest priority. Remember, so you try to give priority based on this diagram. So if device 1 is not requesting anything, go to device 2 and device 3 like that, or else sometime based on your hardware and system configuration, try to give priority which one is which work you want to complete as soon as possible. So CPU take instructions, and with the support of interrupt we need some and also we can improve the performance of the CPU, or you can say improve the speed of the CPU and so on. So the remaining DMA and other points I will explain the next session. I hope that you understand what are interrupts and why we need interrupts, and other interrupt hardware, and also with diagram, how real-time example, how you can understand better way of and also how multiple devices handle with the help of interrupts and so on. Thank you for watching this video. Please support for our channel, subscribe, and any doubts or any comments, please follow this social media and update it. Thank you.